Let's get to know the new head coach for your Austin Spurs, Jacob Chance.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for KENS 5 San Antonio. As always, I am glad to have you back, and I appreciate y'all being the everydayers. Keep on subscribing to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast. iTunes, Spotify, KENS 5 Plus tab, YouTube, you know what to do. What is that? Go subscribe right now and keep on being those everydayers. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be welcoming special guest, the newest head coach for your Austin Spurs, Jacob Chance. That's right, the Australian head coach is joining Locked On Spurs today to discuss his path to the G League, some of his influences that pretty much all Spurs based, whether it be from Matt Nielsen to many others. He talks about that and more. How did he get the job? His reaction, joining the Spurs franchise. It is such a great interview. I know y'all will enjoy it. He also gives us some of lighthearted answers regarding some of the things that he likes to do away from the court, food, and he answers the big question: which of the Spurs Australian players is his favorite? Does he give a political answer or does he pick somebody out? Wait to find out in just a few seconds right here on Locked On Spurs. That's coming up. Hey, quickly, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome special guest right here on Locked On Spurs, the newest head coach for your Austin Spurs, Jacob Chance. And now I am happy to bring on to the stage right here on Locked On Spurs, new Austin Spurs head coach, Jacob Chance. Jacob, you're part of a tradition with Austin Spurs new head coaches. They've always come here to do their introduction to the fan base. So thank you for keeping that tradition alive.
No, absolutely. Happy to be here and looking forward to the next little bit.
Hey, well, this is your first time in Texas?
I've been here before. I was lucky I came out here a couple of years ago and spent a couple of weeks with Matt Nielsen and the staff in San Antonio just for some, professional development. But this is the first time I've been living here for sure.
Oh, well, how is Austin treating you? How's San Antonio treating you?
No, it's been great. The last month, down with the staff in San Antonio, I got up to Bee Cave a couple of days ago. Me and my fiance settled in out here in Bee Cave, Texas. So it's been awesome.
That's great. That's great. And I'm pretty sure you're used to this heat, right? It probably doesn't even compare to Australian heat, right?
It's a little hot. It's a little different. Where I'm from originally in Perth, it can get quite warm, but the last few years in Tasmania or Melbourne down in the southeast, part of Australia is a little cooler. So it's been an adjustment, but it seems to be cooling down now, which is great. Yeah,
I hear the wildlife in Australia is no joke.
I've seen some stuff here in Texas the last couple of days. It's no joke too. So it's it's the same, but Australia is what we're known for.
Yeah. You're looking up in the sky and say, "Oh, those are just big birds." No, those are buzzards and scorpions running around downtown or all around Texas there. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm happy for your new gig here with the Austin Spurs, helping keep that player development for San Antonio, or just overall for these guys to have hopefully a professional career beyond the Austin Spurs, whether it's in the NBA or it's in the G League or overseas in Europe. Thank you for helping out and continue that. Well, I got to ask you, tell us about the process. How was that interview like? I read like you interviewed it, but you really didn't know even after the interview. That took a while. Tell us about that process.
Yeah, it's a unique one. Like the Australian League runs at a very different time to the leagues over here. So, they're 4 or 5 games into their regular season already. So when this all came about, we're already, well and truly into our training camp. I think it was about Vegas Summer League time that I first kind of heard from Josh. And it's, I've been through this process a little bit before. It's a long way away getting the time difference. I think the first time Josh reached out to me, he wanted to talk at like 3:00 in the morning Australian time. He just didn't realize how crazy the time difference was. And, so we had to navigate that. And after a few chats and then speaking to Brian and Mitch, it certainly became apparent that, it was a chance for the role, and then just working through the logistics of it all. So, I was stoked to go through a process with 2 pretty prestigious organizations, both here in San Antonio and Melbourne, the club I work for, which, made that whole thing a lot easier.
Yeah. And as much as you can share with us, like, what do you think they were looking for in a new Austin Spurs head coach? Why do you think you got it?
It's a good question. I think you kind of touched on it before. Like the biggest part of this role is player development, and it's something
Mhm.
that through my time in Melbourne, Tasmania, even Perth before that, and then with the national team in Australia, that's obviously a huge part of the roles that I've had. So I
Right.
feel really proud about what I've been able to do in that space, and I think that's something they obviously gravitated to. And I think my versatility. We're really lucky in Australia in a way. We have really really small staffs, and so you get to
Yeah.
wear a lot of different hats and work in recruiting, play development, managing ops, all those things that come with the G League. So, I think they were looking for that versatile skill set, but certainly someone who prided themselves in the player development space, and that's probably ultimately why I got the job.
That's interesting. I had no idea that, at least with your franchise in Australia, that you all wear different hats. So that's interesting. You think that would be an advantage for you coming into the Austin job, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think
Yeah.
we probably had a staff of about 5 or 6 coaches, and you do a lot. You don't really have true GMs and front offices. We
Mhm.
also don't have a draft and trades and things like that. But you kind of get to learn the industry pretty quick in that sense. And coming here, I'm stoked. The Austin staff is about the same size, and I think it's going to be a great chance for not only me but the rest of my staff here to be able to develop in different areas that they're probably not traditionally exposed to. And
Mhm.
then you get up to the NBA world and you start to see staffs of 15, 20 plus coaches, and it gets a little
Right.
bit more narrowed in terms of your focus. So
Right.
no, certainly an advantage for me coming into this role.
Yeah. We got to ask, how did you react when you got that phone call that you got the job?
It was pretty cool. I was
Yeah.
driving into work in the facility, and Josh called me and just said, "Hey, I was the number one choice." And
Nice.
you're probably in the moment. You start to logistics and for your
Mhm.
fiance, what are we going to do? It's a big move, and you kind of let the dust settle, and then you start to speak to family and friends, and especially when it's an organization like the Spurs.
Oh, for
I'm
sure.
pretty fortunate to come to a place like this, and an organization that invests so much into their own people. It's pretty special.
Were you aware of how important the Austin Spurs is for the San Antonio Spurs as far as player development? Because you look at the history, it's well known across the league that when it comes to utilizing their G League affiliate, in this case Austin, they really tap into it and they stress, hey, get these guys ready and going for the NBA if we get the call up.
Yeah, no, I definitely was. I think
Yeah,
in the last 12 months, I've become more familiar with the G League. It's a league that we've
sure.
recruited out of for a long time in Australia, but you see the variance, I guess, in how teams approach it in different
Mhm.
ways and how much importance they put on it. And certainly once I started speaking to, Mitch and Brian, and then obviously Josh as
Mhm.
well, it's like, now this is something they really value, they invest in. Obviously, geographically, we're a little removed, but that doesn't waver at all in terms of how
Mhm.
much importance they put on it. So it's been special to see that, being involved with training camp the last couple of weeks, how much they valued, the Austin staff involvement in that, and then how much they
Mhm.
really, really prioritizing the two ways and those guys that are going to be with us at different times of the year. So,
Yeah.
no, it's been great to see, and I think it's an asset if you can have something like that running at the same
Mhm.
time as your NBA program. You can certainly benefit from it.
Yeah, let's not forget too that head coach Mitch Johnson, he cut his teeth in Austin. Yeah, he
He
was the
did.
head coach. Yeah, he was there. So you're definitely coming from good stock, and that's got to put a smile on your face as well.
No, I think
Yeah.
when you look at that bench and you see Mitch, you see Matt, and you see Scott, 3 guys who have all spent time in Austin, and then you see the different, QAAs that have come through and the
Mhm.
interns that have been in different places, and then you look at like Taylor Jenkins, Quinn Snyder that have all
Oh
had
yeah,
involvement. Like, no, it's a real pathway, and I think it's an
yeah.
exciting space for me and obviously the rest of my staff too.
And just recently too, Scott King. Now he's in the
Right.
San Antonio bench. So hopefully you'll find your way there down the road, whether it's San Antonio or elsewhere. Nevertheless, you definitely earned the shot, and I know you're going to bring Austin to its best playing capability on that court this upcoming season. Once again, we're joined by new Austin Spurs head coach Jacob Chance right here on Locked On Spurs. We're getting to know Coach. What does he like? What doesn't like? His philosophies and so much more. You mentioned his name a little while ago, Matt Nielsen.
Yeah.
Talk about reuniting with Matty. Australian guys reuniting again, the same organization, and how has he been as far as an influence on your career?
No, Matty's been huge.
Yeah.
That was my intro back in 2015. I walk into an office that has him and another great friend of mine, Adam Ford, who actually was a guest coach with the Spurs a couple of years ago at Summer League.
Mm-hmm.
And to have those guys, I'm obviously very different to Matt. He's an ex-player down in Australia.
Yeah.
He's someone I watched growing up as a kid and admired from afar. And But what he was able to do for me early, and then the support he's shown both me and my partner Bree coming over here and just helping with the move and a lot of the life things. And that's where he really is most valuable as a human being first. And working with him again seems a little surreal. Like we've spent so much time together, and then we're away from each other, got back involved in the national team, and now to see him almost on a daily basis here for the last month, I'm actually ready for a break, to be honest, just to get away from it for a little bit. But he's the best, and he's been such a huge part of my career. And when this opportunity came up, leaning on him for advice has been massive. So it's great to get back together.
Hey, let's talk about Monarch Money. Most people can't name their financial accounts or even know what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And whether you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've been putting off organizing your finances, Monarch will help you. How about this? Monarch does the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Hey, can you identify that you're not saving as much as you thought? Monarch can help you. They'll give you a notice of insufficient investment allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from past jobs. Maximizing investments, increasing your savings rate. You can easily review your finances with your partner or financial advisor, keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week and long term. Look, don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. Yeah, let's talk about game time. Basketball season is officially here. Nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queue, surprise fees, prices that jump right out before checkout. Hey, it's easy to get frustrated when it's all you want to do is just cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in. The app gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets, fast, easy, and free. You can use the Game Time app to grab seats for your San Antonio Spurs. It'll be simple. You can get the great seats in minutes. You'll love what you see because there are no hidden fees at checkout. You can even look exactly at your view before you even buy the tickets with their in-app seat view feature. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and you say big. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Yeah, what do you think his best advice has been to you? Taking on the role as head coach of Boston.
No, I think the thing I've learned most from Nelly is, everybody has a story. It doesn't matter who it is and where they are. He has so much time for the people around him.
Right.
I think that has great, strengths when you can really spend time with the people around you and find out what drives them. And he can do that with literally anyone. And I've learned that from him along the way when dealing with players or people in the front office or stakeholders like fans. So, he's been pretty awesome in that space for me. And it's certainly something I'll carry with me for the rest of my career.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. When it comes to Australia and San Antonio Spurs, it feels like there's been a link between the country and the organization here in Texas, like forever. We can go way back to Andrew Gaze back in the 90s, when he was playing for San Antonio up until recently, you Patty Mills, Aron Baynes, the list goes on and on. What is it about Australia and the Spurs? I mean, it seems like there's like this connection between the two places here.
Yeah, I think some great names there. Obviously, Gazy, a huge one, and Patty and Baynesy, and walking around the organization and seeing obviously Matt, but then Brett Brown. Brett Brown's a key figure in Australian basketball coaching and has been for a long time. Obviously with the national team, and he's still around the organization. I think there's a lot of similarities. Not only the competitiveness and the culture sense that the Spurs probably separate themselves from the rest of the NBA in that way, and I think the way they like to play, that run during the 2014 to 16 era, you saw a resemblance of how they share the basketball and how they committed to defending the basketball, and I think you see that in the Australian style of play. So naturally, there's a connection there from a basketball sense, and I think culturally, there's always been an importance on playing for the front of the jersey, and when it comes to national team, and I think that's certainly the same in San Antonio and Austin. So maybe that's the connection. I'm not sure, but the more Aussies, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, for example, and speaking of Patty Mills, even though he's not wearing the Spurs uniform anymore, he's still a fan favorite among Spurs fans. They cheer for him for every little thing that he does. I think he's in Hawaii right now or something like that, like coaching with one of their.
I think he's involved with the University of Hawaii as a general manager potentially, but the way Patty plays with such a sense of pride and takes real pride in how he performs and how he represents his people and the people he's playing for. So I can see how he's a fan favorite.
All right. Be honest. How much of a rock star is he back in Australia? He's got to be like the Beatles are watching. Elvis are walked in the room, right? I mean, Patty Mills is like the guy in Australia, isn't he?
No, he is, and to bear the flag of the Olympics and do those kind of things that he's done on the world stage, representing our country, has been nothing short of remarkable. So when he's down there, and I've been lucky enough to see him when he's down there, and the power and the things that he means to those people, it's pretty special.
I'm pretty sure you're going to overtake him in Australian popularity, right? And I know you are. I know you are. You're going to guide Austin to titles in your first season here. As a new G League head coach, and you've had experience with the national team, coaching in Australia. You come in with a lot of experience. But when you look back and look moving forward, what do you think makes a good head coach?
No, I think I've been really lucky to work for multiple head coaches and have a crack myself. But I think the best ones that I've been around, just have this ability to really stay true to who they are. Amidst all the chaos that comes with professional sport. I think that's probably going to be my biggest challenge as a young coach, kind of growing into this space of the course of my career, is you have to really know what you're passionate about, because when you have that and you have that true self-awareness, you can navigate all the extracurricular, media, losing, winning, things that you ride the wave if you're not. And I think that's a challenge for all young coaches. So that's what makes the best for me, is they stay true to themselves. You lose 3 in a row, you win 3 in a row. They know the process they have to stick to ultimately get sustainable success. And I think that's where you can really separate yourself as a great coach, and certainly something I'm looking forward to. The challenge that the G League brings in different senses. It's going to be really fun this year.
Yeah, exactly. You can even see that type of mentality with new San Antonio Spurs head coach Mitch Johnson. Even when last year when he was just interim, and even till now, win or loss, he's the same guy at the podium afterwards and pregame. Same guy, even keel. Important. Yeah, so important. But we're had a little fun right now talking about former Aussie players, from Mills and Baynes, and the list goes on and on. But are we starting to see the rise of maybe Australian head coaches coming into the league? There's you now. You mentioned Matt Nielsen. I think in Washington is it Caporn? Adam Caporn?
Yeah, Adam Caporn.
Yeah. He's there. Are we starting to see the rise and the attraction, the eyes that the NBA is giving Australian head coaches, or just coaches in general?
No, I hope so. I mean, our domestic league has grown in great sense. We've got a great group of young coaches coming through that, the way our national coaching pathway works, with a lot of work done in the States. And, I've been a product of that. And I think you're hopefully seeing, those trailblazers you talked about, Damien Cotter too in Chicago, who's on that bench now. The G League is seen as a viable option to come over here and get acclimatized, I guess, to the US system and the way things are done here. And you've seen guys like Matty and Adam, who's now the national team head coach as well, really benefit from that. So I hope so. I hope I can help that as well. I think it's a great league. The NBA is obviously the mecca of basketball in the world. And when we're working down there in Australia, you have that in the back of your mind as a bit of a dream to hopefully get a chance one day. And certainly this is my opportunity to get a foot in the door. And I hope there's many more opportunities for other great young coaches that are coming through.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure with you as head coach with Austin, you're going to make the Austin Spurs the mecca of the G League next season, right?
There you go.
I know you are. Hey, we talked about a lot of your experiences you have, coaching in Australia. You're bringing that to Austin. But what do you think were your key experiences, that prepared you for this role that you have in front of you?
I look back, I think the G League is such a funny one. There's a lot of variability in how it's structured and how it works. And I think when I was looking at this job and saying, hey, this is the right fit for me, I look at, times certainly when, things have changed suddenly. Like the first time I got put on the front bench when I was in Perth and I was young, and you don't quite feel prepared, but you trust in your work, you trust in your organization skills to carry you forward, and your preparation really delivers in those moments. But I do think, my opportunity to head coach the national team in a couple of those, qualifying windows where you have, quickly putting a team together, things are changing every day in terms of your squad. You get small time to prepare for really important games. I think that reflects what I'm going to be walking into here in the G League the best. And those opportunities to lead staffs and bring staffs together and bring playing groups together is something that I'll take forever, and certainly will be big for me this year in Austin.
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets used across the app. You'll love FanDuel because it's just fits everything you need. You can build a same game parlay, do player props, jump into live action as the action unfolds. Make every moment more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. Quick, easy, the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. Cowboys have started their season. Texans are starting their season, so might as well jump on FanDuel right now. You ready to play? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
I am Megatron. Do not fail me and subscribe to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
That's a good point, too, because you can see during the G League season, there's call-ups. They're gone for a while, and then they're right back. You get those in-season trades, and you go from, the cup tournament, and then it transitions to the regular season. So it's always like learning, like going quick, changing and adapting. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that you're going to be adapting to almost easily. But you don't think that'll interfere with the developmental approach that the NBA, the Spurs see the G League as, do you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think that's part of, it's going to really test my communication and organization skills, but I think that's something I pride myself on. And I'm really stoked and pumped about the staff that's coming back to Austin this year that did such a great job last year. And that'll be a great test for us. The priority every day we walk into that gym is just win that day that's in front of us from a developmental standpoint. And whoever's there is going to be really benefiting. And if they're with the Spurs, great, they're in an even better spot. But,
sure.
That's certainly our mindset as a collective. And whoever's there that day, we're gonna keep improving and keep trending in the right direction.
Do you think it'd be a little easier for you to adapt to that high tempo focus that you see in the G League today?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it's funny when you watch the pace of the game. It's so hot right now in the G League, and
it is.
I think there's just a part of it that's educating the players on. For me, it's like you playing fast doesn't mean you have to shoot fast. It's just being able to keep trying to create advantages and maintain advantages through the whole clock. And obviously, we all know you get them early in the clock most of the time, the best. But how you do that and educate your players is really important. So. No, I think I'll enjoy it. I like playing fast. I like getting out and finding early advantages in the clock. But me and the staff will have to do a good job of just educating our players and the best way to do that on a nightly basis and find our best opportunities where we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And the G League is it's an experimental ground for the NBA where it comes to new jersey designs to different rules. So it looks like you would definitely be having to test that adaptability know-how that you have, pretty sure, this upcoming season. Once again, we're here with Austin Spurs new head coach, Jacob Chance, getting to know him. And in a bit, he's going to tell you why you should be making the trip out to Cedar Park to go check out Austin Spurs games. And it's really just to see him, not the players. It's to see him coach on the sideline. That's all you want to go to, right? The Spurs, the organization, they're known, for – as I mentioned earlier, just to use that Austin Spurs pipeline as a developmental pipeline, basically. And we established that in this chat. Thumbs up, way to go, Austin and San Antonio. But do you think your strategies and how you want to implement them on the court is going to align with that? Is that pretty a simple process? Just do what they say and get them going.
No, I mean, I've been lucky here the last couple of weeks to spend time with Mitch and his staff, and training camp has been super valuable for me. I think for the most part, we're hunting symmetry and not, X's and O's will look a bit different. The teams that we'll have will look a bit different, but the principles and the language, I think, is really important to be aligned. These G League programs, I've seen this done in our football codes down in Australia really well for a long time. And I think that's the thing that stands out the most. And the best NBA teams with their G League programs do this the best is getting on the same page. So when people on assignment or two ways, there isn't that gray area of confusion when they're bouncing back and forth. And
Mhm.
that'll be mostly around the process and how we operate when it comes to
Right.
practice and come to language. But yeah, the X's and O's will look a little different at times, but certainly for the most part, we're aiming to produce an environment that's reflective of what the Spurs have done really well for a long
Right.
time, and that's going to be mine and the staff's biggest job.
So coming into this season, what are your goals are for the team as the new head coach? If you had to list them out, what would those goals be for you?
No, I think we want to make sure that number one, we're producing an environment that allows guys to get better, both staff and players, and that's certainly my biggest focus heading into. We start some workouts here tomorrow actually in Austin, so that's, I think, as head coach, you're kind of like the energy officer. You're making sure that every day you walk into that gym, it's this place that people that feel safe, they feel included, and they feel valued, and they feel like they're improving. So that's number one, and the number two is we can see guys achieving their individual goals of getting call-ups or two-ways being with the Spurs for longer. That's certainly going to be reflective of the work we're doing here in Austin. So, and then if we're doing everything the right way and the way we should approach it, we should see a lot of fun basketball and a lot of winning as a result. And that'll put us in the position we want to be in at the showcase or at the end of the year playing in good playoff basketball, which is what everyone's trying to do.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to know new head coach Jacob here a little better. Let's have some fun with him now. So you're about to let him go. He's such a busy man right there. You see, he's drinking his energy drink already. He's got stuff to do.
Just water.
All right. So in basketball history, if you can steal one coaching tactic from a legendary NBA coach and implement it right away in Austin, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's a hell of a question. I mean, it's really hard to go. I know I talked a little bit about it before, but I remember watching those Spurs teams in the 13s and 14s and 15s, and just the way the ball, the beautiful game, the way the ball moved, and the 0.5 decision making Pop and that stuff had. If we can walk into game one on November 7th against Birmingham with ball movement like that, I'd be pretty happy.
All right, there you go. He's one of the beautiful game to steal that tactic right away. All right, what's your favorite food?
There's a lot, but I'm a big chicken parma guy, which is a big food down in Australia, just from a good Australian pub. So chicken palmy or chicken parma, whatever you call it, and some fries. I'm pretty good.
There better be chicken parm night for us for an Austin Spurs game.
There you go.
It'll be a good one, right? That'd be fun. Yeah, you'll be too distracted. You'll be time out. Why? I got to get a chicken parm. That's why.
Yes.
Hey, what do you like to do in your downtime?
I love, me and my partner love to go for walks out in the outdoors. We really enjoyed living in Tasmania when we were there, and Melbourne, and we've enjoyed some of the walks around here in Austin already. But I'm a big music guy. We're lucky enough to get to Austin City Limits on.
Oh yeah, I'm about to say
Caught Alabama Shakes at Moody Center the week before, and I love going to live music and listening to music and heading down to little record and vinyl stores here in Big Cave. So big music guy.
All right, this is really going to put you in the spot here in a good way, in a fun way, though. Your favorite all-time Aussie Spurs player, Andrew Gaze, Patty Mills, Aron Baynes, somebody else?
I mean, that's a tough question. I love all of them. I didn't get to see enough of Gaze. I was probably too young.
Right.
But certainly watching Patty over the years. And
I can imagine.
I think Baynes, he goes under the radar. So I'll have to sit on the fence and say all three.
Okay.
But obviously I've been lucky to work a little bit with Patty here the last couple of years. And it's
nice. He loves them all. He loves his Australian.
Yeah. Hard to separate.
Yeah. Thoughts on Greg Popovich, his retirement? Not retired. Well, he retired from coaching. He just moved on to the front office. Your thoughts on him and his legacy?
No, I think just you see it every day in the Spurs, right? Like it's just how that place operates, and so reflective of him as a human. And I haven't spent any time around him, but and like I reflected on before, the way those teams played came through the TV screen. And as a young basketball fan, you tried to emulate that in your coaching wherever you went. Those things have been trademarks of international basketball for a long time. The decision making, the selflessness when it came to offense, and then how they committed defensively to game plan and execution. Yeah. It was pretty special. So and obviously an unbelievable coach. And I think anytime you're in an organization for that long and can have that much impact on the people around you, it's obviously pretty special. Yeah.
Can you imagine the first time if you get a chance to meet him though? I mean, in person, that'd be
absolutely be incredible.
Pretty heavy. That'd be pretty heavy in a good way. All right. Well, for everybody else, the Austin Spurs, they're celebrating an anniversary this upcoming season. I believe, I'm pretty sure Lauren from the PR department will correct me. their 20th anniversary in Austin. There you go. I got the nod. She said yes. So we're good to go. It is the 20th anniversary in Austin for the Austin Spurs. They're going to have so many things. They're going to have throwback nights. The Austin Toro jersey is going to be back. So many theme nights. One in particular I like, they're going to have Star Wars night. So I got to prep my calendar to clear out that to go and nerd out in Austin, or Cedar Park, I should say. But knowing that, and you got a new head coach, you can have some bright players, a possibility of some younger Spurs in San Antonio making the trip up to Austin and suiting up. What would your message be, Coach, to the fans? First of all, any messages for their support and why they should come out to go check out the games at the Cedar Park?
No, I mean, I'm so excited for this season coming up. Obviously, my first time out here, I've heard nothing but good things about Cedar Park and the atmosphere and the way the community gets around this team. So, if you love your Austin Spurs or your Austin Toros back in the day, it's going to be a really fun year to come out and hopefully see some really quality, entertaining basketball with a lot of the traits that we've talked about. The guys sharing the ball, playing the right way defensively, and really competing on a nightly basis. So I'm excited for all those things. I probably won't get to enjoy the extracurricular jerseys and things like that as much as everyone else, but it's a great reason to come and support hopefully a really fun team this year that's well supported by an elite NBA organization and elite staff as well here in Austin.
Absolutely. And everybody else, again, as mentioned, just go on Google, type in Austin Spurs homepage, and you click on there, you'll see this little thing called tickets. Yeah, you want to click on that, pick yourself up tickets. Look at that promotional schedule. Seriously, have you seen that promotional schedule, Coach?
I have. It's pretty impressive.
It's pretty impressive, right?
Friends back in Australia are loving it. So I'm super. Lauren's going to have to hook me up with some jerseys to send back home. It's going to be cool.
I actually told her the same thing. When I saw there was Star Wars night, I was like, oh no, Lauren.
Let's go.
I got to get one. I have to. What do I got to do? So she's probably going to say, like, well, you got to come to Cedar Park. So she has me there.
That's a fair trade.
I think it's a very fair trade. Coach, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're trying to get things going here, but more importantly, I love that you kept up the tradition here, Locked On Spurs. The new coach comes on, introduces themselves to the fans, and as we get to know the new head coach, Jacob Chance, a little better right here on Locked On Spurs. Coach, I'll likely see you down the road. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule.
No, thank you. I'm looking forward to, meeting you and all the fans up in Cedar Park. So I appreciate you having me on and looking forward to a fun year.
Yeah, everybody go to Cedar Park. Check out the game. Who cares about those guys in the court? You want to see Coach do the coaching. That's what you want to go through. Look how he picked up that clipboard. Everybody get their binoculars or seating clothes. Look how he walked the sidelines. He's awesome. Yeah. There you go. Coach, appreciate it. Everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Can't Plus at YouTube. Forget, go to the Austin Spurs website. Go get yourself some tickets. Just go show some support to the G League team that the Spurs are affiliated with. We'll be back tomorrow with more Silver and Black talk as the regular season is inching closer. So for new Austin Spurs head coach Jacob Chance, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.